All right, this video goes out to Dog Nation and any UGA dog lovers. I met Mr. John Cannon a couple months ago. His story is unbelievable. You wouldn't believe what he's been through and what he's currently still going through. This video is not just about UGA, it's about a bigger picture as far as elderly abuse. But the story that Mr. John is going to tell you is very sad, very evil, and here's tons of evidence, even more evidence than we've talked about in our previous videos, the massive cover-up. These are even tons of more evidence that I've studied for over 20 hours. I met Mr. John, and it was a coincidence that his wife had taught me at one of the major universities in Georgia that I played at, and she was one of my teachers, professors. But here's a lot of the UGA memorabilia that Mr. John will tell you in a second how you could benefit financially from helping him in this cause in this video. So here's Mr. John Cannon.
Thank you. This is not a scripted presentation. I'm almost blind. I'm in kidney failure, but I didn't cause my blindness or my kidney failure. I'm a whistleblower, and what you're going to get ready to hear is why I'm in the condition I'm in. I've been hiding out in this motel room for quite a while. Prior to that, I was homeless on the streets. This is about the world's biggest dog fan who was murdered by Emory University Hospital. Not medical malpractice. It was a cover-up and conspiracy. I'm a former cardiac therapist and hospital department administrator at 3 major Atlanta hospitals. The UGA great Billy Payne, who also was the head of the Atlanta Olympics and became the chairman of Augusta National, which is the Masters, was a former heart patient of mine at Georgia Baptist Medical Center in 1982. Again, everything I will tell you in this is the absolute truth. And I've got evidence, beyond evidence, beyond evidence to back it all up. So you don't have to worry about any of that. But I do need your help. And the help I need involves you making some money with hardly doing anything. This is not some off-the-wall scam. We've already done a couple videos, which we will give you links to at the end of this, so that you can understand a little more about what was done to my father and what has been done to me. I'm missing teeth, which I have here somewhere that are out of my mouth. I can't see. I'm in kidney failure, possibly heart failure. I'm a former marathon runner. Somehow, by the grace of God, I'm able to walk out of this motel room just about every day and go to a gym and ride on a special bike because I can't put my head below my waist or I pass out. And I ride anywhere from 15 to 30 miles every day. Part of that is by the grace of God, that I promised my father I would get him justice on his deathbed, and that I was a former marathon runner. This is how you are going to benefit from this. And my father, who by far was the world's biggest dog fan, he followed Georgia sporting events for 80 years. He was at the first game at Sanford Stadium in 1929. And this is a picture of Sanford Stadium. In 29, he took the bus from Atlanta to Athens when he was 13. He was a football scrub for Coach Butts before World War II. He never lettered. He went to many great Georgia games before we started getting tickets, season tickets in 1966. And they continued until 2007 when I had to bury my father because of the abuse and the criminal acts that caused his murder at Emory University Hospital. My father and I attended close to 500 UGA games together. My father went to the Theron Sapp Drought Breaker at Grant Field. We saw the Flea Flicker in '65. This is all off the top of my head. Alabama, Georgia, from Moore to Hodson to Hodson to Taylor. We saw all of y'all watching this video, former Georgia players. My father and I saw every play you ever played, every yard you ever gained, every kick you ever kicked, every tackle you ever made, every block you ever made, every pass you ever made. My father and I saw all of them. And I want to thank you. And the way I'm going to thank you is the first 100 people. Hopefully a lot of them will be former Georgia players and Georgia fans that email me at smoltzie, SMOLTZIE 410 at gmail.com, which will provide some further information at the end of this video. The first 100 people will qualify, not only qualify, you will get $1,000. The second level of financial earnings for the people watching this and hopefully helping stop elderly abuse in medical facilities, including hospitals and nursing homes. The second 200 will get $500. Emory Hospital is being sued for $84 million, and I'm going to get every dime. Emory and corrupt DAs and law enforcement, crooked attorneys, they took everything my father and I ever owned. It's all gone. It's all gone. I became homeless after I buried my father. I lived at homeless shelters in Savannah, the old Savannah Mission, stayed at Salvation Army shelters in Athens and Atlanta, and stayed at the Atlanta Mission in Atlanta. I lived on the streets. As my friend mentioned, he was a former student at a major Georgia university and took a class from my ex-wife. I have one beautiful special needs daughter. Her name is Lindsay. I say after Lindsay Scott, even though her name is spelled with an E and not an A. She thought I was dead. I vanished for my safety. I ran for my life. If you've ever seen any John Grissom movies, if you've ever seen the Paul Newman movie, The Verdict, you can understand what I'm talking about. There's also been other books written about previous Emory cover-ups, and you will be given a link at the end of this to one which is called Waking Up Blind. This is the book written by a former Emory doctor talking about some whistleblowers of a massive cover-up at Emory that started in 1980. He also has a YouTube. So this is not the first one. I have been beaten. I've been poisoned to shut up. I'm not shutting up. I'm a Christian. Everything I say and everything I'll ever say on any YouTubes or to any of y'all on Facebook or that email me is the truth. And I got all the evidence to back it up. This is just some Georgia stuff. Some of this I am selling to raise money to fight elderly abuse. I'm going to get my $84 million. When I get it, the first 100 people that email me and say, how can I help you? And again, I'm not asking for your money. Now, I want you to pass the word to your fellow dog fans, to your fellow neighbors, to your fellow Georgia football letterman. Let them know that the world's greatest dog fan and also was a football scrub at Georgia and followed the Dogs for 80 years and got season tickets for 50 of those 80 years. He was murdered, cold-blooded. So some of these things I am selling. I'm not going to point them all out to you. But you can contact me if you see something. I've got team balls. I've got some photographs. A few of these things I won't sell. But prior to all this, I was a massive sports memorabilia collector. I had thousands of Georgia items, programs, ticket stubs, signed football, signed jerseys. This is signed by Ray Goff. It's gone. And the more you start hearing the story, you will have no problem knowing why it's gone. I also used to own other memorabilia. That is still gone. It's gone. I had a guitar signed by the Rolling Stones. There it is. It's gone. I had memorabilia, lots of memorabilia from Mickey Mantle. It's all gone. I own the Greg Olson cast. If you know anything about the Braves, he broke his leg. I did a lot of charity events, and I bought his cast at a function to support Eccleston Children's Hospital. I've got a picture of his cast in here somewhere. Anyway, this is all gone. Dan Marino signed helmet. Randall Cunningham signed helmet. It's all gone. Had over $2 million worth of sports memorabilia. I still have about 500 or so Sports Illustrated. And of course, my favorite one is Christy Brinkley. Well, no, it's not really, but I probably won't sell this because, hey, it's Christy Brinkley. But I got them. These are older Sports Illustrated and older sports magazines. Lombardi of the Super Bowl, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali. I'm going to show you a few things that have been shown in the other two videos that I'm not going to go into a lot of the detail of it in this one. This is more about getting y'all to help me. I need your help. Emory has paid off attorneys I've hired to the tune of $280,000. Yes, they've been blackmailed. The Atlanta media, all 4 TV stations, will not touch this. Can you please hand me that little letter? This is from CNN. They won't touch this story. It's Emory. Emory controls everyone. Emory is worth $100 billion. I guess, give or take. Obviously, a multi-billion-dollar university and hospital, and they own 12 or 13 other major hospitals in Atlanta. Emory's a giant. As one former Emory whistleblower, former MD, has told me, he calls Emory the mafia. And if you see my injuries, I've got a scar on my right temple. I've got teeth that have been knocked out. Again, I'm in kidney failure. I'm blind. I have what I call cardiac syncope attacks, where my blood pressure bottoms out because of my kidney failure and possible heart failure. I wind up on the motel floor for hours. I'll be honest, I'm dying. But I promised my father on his deathbed that I would get him justice. So I'm getting justice for the world's greatest dog fan. So again, you can see yesterday, which was December whatever yesterday was.
13.
It was Charlie Trippey's 98th birthday. Charlie Trippey was my father's favorite player and my father's scrimmage against Trippey. Herschel Walker was mine. Also, I have an autographed picture that I still have of the few things I have from one of your former Georgia teammates who went on to become very famous. His name was Bill Goldberg. That's when he played for the Falcons, and he signed that to my father. So, please, I'm begging you. You're going to benefit in ways you can't even imagine. $84 million I'm getting. And don't laugh at me and think, oh, you're not. Well, yes, I am. They destroyed my family. I destroyed my family. My little special needs daughter thought I was dead. I missed her birthdays, her holidays. But I reappeared not too long ago. A lot of people thought I was dead. I have a cousin who's helping me stay in this room. I took my Social Security early. So I do have a GoFundMe account. But that money will be used to publicize what happened to my father at Emory. But Emory is not the only one doing all of this. Yes, I've gotten a blackmail letter from Emory. I'm not going to tell you the amount of money they offered me, but I am going to read you what it said. This was sent to me, but it was in regards of my father. Regarding Richard Cannon, that's my father. We also, I want to state, have given major donations to the Butts Mayer building. So on the donor wall, you'll see my father's name, the Richard C. Cannon family. We also made a donation for one of his good friends who was a Georgia letterman in the late 30s by the name of Roy Gatchell, which some of you older dog fans might remember Mr. Gatchell because Roy started accumulating the memorabilia, which has been added onto, which is now at the Butts Mayer building. Mr. Gatchell started putting all that together in probably the mid to late 60s. Right now, I'm getting ready to have an attack. So stay with me. Again, I'm sick. But I'm going to get justice for my father, justice for other old people, and I'm going to get my money. Because my father left my little girl $500,000 in his will and also his house, which was built not only by my parents, but former AD Joe Leaves' father. And I have a program here with Mr. Eves on it and Coach Dooley. Joe Leaves' father helped build my parents' home. So we got a lot of tie-ins to Georgia. But I also have tie-ins to two of the schools that I went to, which were Georgia Southern and Georgia State. In fact, I'm wearing a Georgia State cap here, and I have a Georgia Southern cap over on my bed. I need to find a book I've written. It's not been published. This is the only picture I have of my father. That's it. Oh, nothing else of my father's except for one thing. When Emory dropped him, there's Mr. Eves, Joel Eves, on the front of a program. That's the Georgia LSU game, September the 7th, 1991. My family, when we had money, which we don't have anything now, I'm an only child. I'm lucky to be alive, and I'm barely alive right now. We made major donations to Georgia Southern, started a nursing scholarship in memory of my mother. She died before my father was murdered. We also made major donations, and the reason we made them, not only because I went there, because of the one and only Irk Russell. And we all know who Irk was, don't we? But I also made donations to some of their weightlifting facilities. And I went to Georgia Southern in '73 to try to play baseball, but that was very short-lived. I thought I was better than I was. In fact, the coach at the time, his name was Ron Polk, who I'm sure many of you have heard of, the great Mississippi State University baseball coach. Then before Coach Dooley left as being the AD, he brought Coach Polk back to Athens, and Coach Polk coached a few seasons for the Georgia baseball team. I gave donations to the locker rooms at Georgia Southern in the baseball facility, the Helen and Dick locker room. Those are my parents, presented by John, that's me, Debbie, my ex-wife, and Lindsay, my little girl. This was when I was still married to Debbie. She left me when all this crap started. She was scared. When you become a whistleblower like me, everybody leaves you. Everybody. No one wants to be around you. Your family leaves you. Your friends leave you. You're out there by yourself. And that's what places like an Emory, that's what they want. So let me get back to the blackmail letter. I don't think I read the letter to you. Dear Mr. Cannon, I regret you no longer want to meet with us to discuss your father's case. However, Emory remains interested in resolving this matter with your father, if possible. To that end, please convey to your father that we would like to offer it. And they do the blackmail, which is very common. If you've ever seen the movie The Verdict, it's done in that movie about a Boston hospital cover-up starring Paul Newman. We'd like to offer you this amount of money, and I'm not going to say the amount, and finally resolve any and all claims he believes he may have against Emory. It's a blackmail letter. And a lot of families would say, yeah, we'll take the money. And we'll shut our mouths. No. My father told me to tell Emory, as he's trying to learn how to walk again, because how this all started was Emory dropped my father and broke his back, and he became paralyzed, and Emory committed 12 felonies, which you'll see in the first two videos that talks more about how this whole thing started, and there'll be more videos. So there's your blackmail letter. But shortly after this started, I contacted the DeKalb County DA's office. And an assistant DA, heck, I will go on and say his name. His name is Mr. Harold Buckler. He's no longer in that position anymore. He's gone into private practice. But he covered this up. Here's the letter. But anyway, I sent him a letter. And we talked prior to this letter. He knew this information was coming. I gave him a lot of information about the cover-up. He said he'd get back with me in a week. A week? He never got back with me in a month, because a few days after he received this letter, he talked to Emory's attorney, David Ladner, who wrote the cover-up, who wrote the blackmail letter. And Ladner told him, whatever the Cannon family tells you, no, you're not going to do anything to Emory. Emory didn't do nothing. Oh, Emory may have done a few things wrong, but we didn't do all these other things. Yeah, they did. And some of you have already seen some of their lies. They forged my father's signature shortly after they dropped him, about 3 hours after they dropped him. When he went into a coma, they forged his signature onto an illegal do not resuscitate form. They lied on the nurse's notes. They also lied about an MRI that they did after they dropped him. I've got it all in here. Again, unless you're a medical person like I am, and have worked in major Atlanta hospitals and also in nursing homes, you're never going to know all this stuff. You're never going to know it. These medical records that I got that Emory never wanted me to have, Emory gave me other stuff, but not the good stuff, because he never wanted me to have it. I got it mysteriously from a company in Alpharetta called HealthPort, Medical Records Copying Company. Legally, they knew it was mine. So, my father was dropped. His back was broken. He became paralyzed from the waist down. Then they committed 12 felonies. Then during this whole process, he never got home for 8 months. But when he got home, he was wheelchair bound and bedridden. I'd already contacted the Atlanta media to cover this story. They basically laughed in my face because they had been told, we ain't going after Emory. We don't go after, now we may go after Emory in some small stuff, but we ain't going after Emory for murder. Even though he's got all the evidence and we've seen all the evidence, we're still not going after him. So do you understand how important it is for me to get your help? Again, I'm going to give you money. And I'm going to get the money. But right now, the only thing I own are 4 grave sites at Westview Cemetery west of Atlanta. That's all I've got. When I leave this room and go to a gym where I work out, I take the bus. And I can barely see to get on the bus. I have to have people at the gym help me to even get on the equipment. This fight for justice is not only what I promised my father when he said, son, promise me you'll get my justice. This was on his deathbed. And I promised him I would. And I'm damn well going to do it. He was my father. He was my best friend. I went to close to 500 Georgia games together with my father. This fight is also, guys and women, for y'all. Because this happens all the time. And I bet you some of y'all listening to this, you could tell me stories about either you or some aunts or uncles or parents or grandparents that things just didn't seem right. 90% of medical malpractice cases, they're first criminal, then civil, because there's a cover-up involved. You may not know this, but the third leading cause of death in our great country that my father defended when he went off to World War II. And then after that, he became an Atlanta fireman for 40 years and fought 1,955 fires. This goes on all the time. All the time. And I got the evidence, not only at Emory, but I can prove it. And it goes on in every hospital and every nursing home, and I can prove it. And some of y'all probably have some stories of some loved ones that hopefully you haven't lost, but you could have, because this is the third leading cause of death in America, are hospital and nursing home cover-ups behind heart disease and cancer. It's not mass shootings. It's not car accidents. It's hospital cover-ups. Hospitals never want you to know about them. They got caught. I think I've covered about all I want to cover right now. No, there's something else. State agencies that I went to, they know that Emory's guilty as hell. But have they done anything about it? Hell no. Who have people come after to shut me up? Me. They've come after me. They've tried to kill me. I'm standing up for people like yourself and your families that I'll never know. I don't ever want this to happen to another family. Never. And it never should. Never should. This is from the Georgia Department of Community Health. Emory lies. From the DeKalb County Board of Health, because I haven't told you how Emory tried to use a scam of tuberculosis to cover up breaking my father's back at T10, lower to mid-back. That paralyzed him. This is the Georgia Composite Medical Review Board, and that's a total sham. I'm having another attack. Anyway, Georgia Medical Review Board is a scam. I reported 8 Emory doctors. To them, they did nothing. After I buried my father, people started coming after me big time. And I vanished. I went on the run. What is it, the old TV show, The Fugitive? I was running. My family, my little girl, even my ex-wife, they thought I was dead. They didn't know where I was. And then I reappeared not too long ago, and Emory found out that I wasn't dead. Even though they knew I wasn't dead, because they were the ones chasing me. But they never thought, ever, that I would be able to get all this together. Look at this. Look at this. Boxes. But to be honest, this is all I need. This got all I need in it. Because these are records Emory never wanted me to have. And I got these lies on state agency reports. Emory committed perjury, not only with state agencies, which will get you thrown in jail. It's a felony. Heck, you go to prison. Forget jail. But they also lied to the law. And the law knew they were being lied to. But the law is part of the cover-up. I don't want to scare you. But not too long ago, I was referred by the GBI to the North Georgia Federal DA's office. Within 60 seconds after I was given a phone number from the GBI to call the North Georgia Federal DA's office in the downtown Richard Russell building, I was asked to go into the FBI Witness Protection Program. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. It's pretty scary, I would think. I thought it was very unusual. I'm calling per the GBI, which is also knows information about this, that I can prove. They referred me to the feds, and the feds wanted to put me in the FBI Witness Protection Program. By now, maybe you figure this out a little. They didn't want to put me in there to protect me. They knew who the guilty people were. They wanted to put me in there to shut me up, because I know way too much stuff. And let me tell you, this stuff is going to be told. And you're going to help, I hope, to tell the story. Again, the first 100 people that email me, $1,000. And of course, I got to get some money, don't I? Because I don't have nothing now. But let me tell you, I get my money, you're going to get your money. And then the second 200 we'll get 500, and then we'll go down from there. Or we'll go back up from there. But Emory's not going to be the only one that's going to be sued. I've also written a book, not yet published, and I've got to write a little more of the book because there's a lot more to the book than I've already written. I've also been contacted by a director about a movie. So this is not going away. But what my father went through, that sat at Sanford Stadium, that sat at the old Gator Bowl, that sat at Jordan Hare Stadium, that sat at Grant Field, that sat at Neyland Stadium, that sat all over the SEC, year after year after year, and in Athens, watching you boys play, you got to stand up for this man. He wasn't a football letterman, but he was a football scrub. And he scrimmaged against Trippy and against Sinkwich. Of course, Trippy was the greatest he ever saw. And Coach Bobby Dodd of Georgia Tech says that, and Coach Barry Brown of Alabama says that. Please help me, because this fight is about you and your family. Again, you have no idea what's going on. So we're going to do a little more editing of this. So it may not be out. Today's Sunday at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to do a little editing. We're going to do some links so that I can get this out to my Facebook friends, to my Facebook followers. And then please respond. This is not going away. This culture of cover-ups, particularly against the elderly and particularly against poor people, has been going on in the medical profession for years. I am a hospital and nursing home's worst enemy because I used to work in those places. I know how they do cover-ups. Again, thank you for your time. Again, I need your help. I cannot do this going to attorneys, going to the law, because they're part of the cover-up. I've got to get social media to raise up and say, enough's enough. And then once that happens, Emory and other people are going to get real scared. They can't be in control anymore because I got the truth and I got all the evidence and all they got are a bunch of lies and they know it. But what they have right now is something they've had several years against me, and that's allowed them to try to kill me, which is power, influence, and money. So God bless you. I need your help. This fight is for your family. Not just about my father, but my father deserves justice. Again, he saw every yard, every tackle, every punt, every kick, every pass, every yard you gained. My father and I saw all of it. And I've got a pretty good photographic memory. I would start naming some names, but I'll forget some that are on my Facebook and my friends, and I don't want to do that. But please, Smoltzy, SMOLTZIE, the number 4, the number 10, at gmail.com. Immediately, when you get this, you should immediately email me. This is no scam. This is no scam. My father did not die in vain. I have not become homeless in vain. I have not missed my little girl's birthdays and holidays in vain. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of hiding out in motel rooms. I'm tired of living in shelters. I'm tired of living on the street. I'm tired of being followed. I'm tired of being threatened. The game's over. The game's over. And Emory knows it. But they really don't know it because they're still in charge because they have paid off or influenced the media, the law, and attorneys. And I can prove it all. One last thing. This is the only thing I own of my father's. This is it. It's got his name on it. This is how my father, when he was paralyzed, before he was murdered, this is how he used to try to learn to put his socks and shoes back on. I took my father to Emory with low back muscle spasms. The day before Georgia played Arkansas in Fayetteville. I won't get into all that. I won't get into all that. Please, just email me and we'll go from there. This is all legit, but I got to have your help. Sitting on your tail doing nothing is the worst thing you could do because, by golly, statistically, roughly 20% of all hospital admissions yes, I'm dying. I'm not looking for your sympathy at all, but I don't deserve this. I'm 64 years old. I'll be 65. My next birthday, but I'm dying. I'm very sick. The person that's filming this, he's seen me be very sick. Oh.
This is cruel.
So, again, I'm a Christian. Email me, and let's get on the road to justice. God bless you. Again, this was not scripted, so I probably bounced off the wall a little. I get very emotional. At least I didn't cry this time. But if this would have happened to your mother or your father or your grandmother, or your grandfather, your aunt or your uncle, and you knew it and you had all the evidence, and all people wanted to do was shut you up, you'd be pissed too. And I'm angry as hell. I'm not as angry as I get when we play the Gators or Auburn or Tech. Yeah, I am. I'm far angrier than anything to do with football. This is about human life. My father could still be alive today. Heck, he could have been at Charlie Trippy's birthday. Charlie Trippy was 98. My father would have been 103. God bless you. Go Dogs.